Hi, God Adventure family, it's Natalie, and I just want to bring encouragement and possibly, potentially, quite a challenge. So, a few days ago, I was just praying for my family. My brother and my dad have their own small business, they're painting contractors, and my other brother works for a very big company, he contracts in IT. And I was thinking about them and the fact that, so for my brother and my dad, that for this whole time they will not be able to earn, and their small company probably feeds about almost 10 families. And so I was just praying over this and just trusting God for their provision, and also just my brother who contracts, that there's potentially no work for him at the moment, and so he doesn't get paid if he doesn't work. And just how challenging this will be for him and his family, because they really do depend on his salary coming in to meet all their needs. And while I was praying, I just felt a real urge and a sense of urgency to tell them to tithe, which is, it's challenging, you know. So it took me a few days, I must admit, and I did eventually send the message through to tell them to tithe. But you know, it's not about the money. It's not about the storehouse. It's not about the money going to the storehouse. It's about us, in this case, releasing the money and saying to God, you know what, things are hectic. I don't know when the next year's time is that I'm going to get paid. I don't know how things are going to turn out with the challenging times that we're living in now, but I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. There's a promise in the Bible, and it's actually, I think, the only time in the Bible where God says we can test him in it, and says, put your money in the storehouse and I will pour out a blessing that you cannot contain. I will open the floodgates of heaven. I mean, can you imagine? Open the floodgates of heaven and pour out a blessing that we cannot contain. So that's my encouragement to you. It's a heart issue, I understand. You know, it's challenging. It's challenging for all of us. But who are we trusting in? You know, are we trusting in the money in the bank? Are we trusting in our jobs? Are we trusting in all of those outside things? Or are we going to say, God, I'm putting my trust in you and you alone. I know you have promised that you'll provide all our needs. You have promised that as I tithe, that you'll pour out a blessing that we cannot contain. So so test God in this. Tithe. Put your money, put God to the test. And the other encouragement also that I wanted to bring was a few days after I had that word for my family, I was reading in Nehemiah where the Israelite people are being enslaved by their own people, where there is very high taxes that they've been asked to pay. And so they go to Nehemiah and they complain to him and they say it's not right. And so he is very angry. He gets very angry, and he says to the people that are extorting these taxes and saying, or these interest loans, you guys can't do this. It's not right. You need to look after, these people. These are your countrymen. And there's a side note that led me to Proverbs. It was Proverbs 28:27, and it says, he who gives to the poor will not lack. Now, it's another promise. You know, there are people in dire straits at the moment in our country. Here, in East London, there are people that literally go door to door begging, and they cannot do that anymore. We need to help. We need to help. There are families that are on the breadline. So that's another encouragement, to tithe and trust and see and wait on God, how he pours out a blessing that you cannot contain, and that you will never lack. As you help and you give to the poor, you will never lack.